When they say we are open for business, as far as I know, we were always open for business. But you see these big hotels being put up, as far as I know, these are overseas people, not diaspora members who are doing it. So when you hear that we are open for business, what hits you?
Well, for me, yes, I agree. We've always been open for business, but obviously with the pandemic, a number of people were concerned that we had a major downturn as a country that's heavily dependent on tourism. So there are people who thought Jamaica, for the most part, was somewhat closed, and they've heard about the lockdowns. In terms of the hotels, yes, those are majority overseas. I wouldn't expect the diaspora to really participate in that. I think we see other opportunities to invest in Jamaica, and we do need an economy that is much broader than just tourism. And so we want to invest in other areas, I would say, besides traditional tourism. If we did stay within tourism, it probably would be more on the ecotourism side, heritage tourism, cultural, but there are too many other opportunities in Jamaica for us to fixate on just hotels.
Open for business is a term that I've heard so many times, David. What makes it more open now for business than it was any other time that we've heard Jamaica is open for business?
So I don't know if it is more open for business than any. I think it is more welcoming to business than at any other time, right? We've had a fairly stable economy, even after what we've dealt with COVID. I think that overall, Jamaica is one of the better countries from the way this handled this entire process that we certainly nobody had planned for. But most importantly is simply that when you have a stable economy, obviously now everybody around the world is worried about inflation, but we had debt that had come down. Our debt to GDP ratio has dramatically improved. We have record net international reserves. So if you want to be investing, now is going to be this upswing, right? We had a downswing because of the pandemic, but before that, we have to admit things were actually improving. We had seen low jobless rates, some rates that I've never seen in my lifetime, certainly with Jamaica. So that's really good. A dollar that obviously continues to slide in some way, but it's fairly stable. And the Bank of Jamaica has done an excellent job in terms of managing that. So this is not a Jamaica of the 90s or the 80s. This is certainly a more progressive Jamaica. So it is more welcoming to overseas investors.
To your response, I wasn't suggesting that diaspora members should go into the hotel business. I'm just suggesting that I can't think of diaspora members, or as far as I putting money in any huge thing in Jamaica. You mentioned in your response that there are other areas that you guys could get involved. What kind of areas we're talking about?
Well, let's say one. Look at Michael Leachin obviously has worked on a massive agricultural project. I mean, that was in the papers, and that is huge. That is not a small project at all. And so there are diaspora members that are investing down there, and there are others who are quiet, or they're investing in companies that are private, or sometimes they're investing in publicly traded companies. We have done both. And so, from an industry standpoint, I think there are certain opportunities. One, we should be looking at more that we have not is the creative industries. Jamaica's single largest export is our culture, and that's what Sean Paul's manager, Steve Wilson, has repeatedly said to me. And I agree. So I think that's one that we need to be looking at. Anywhere in the world we go, we mention Jamaica. All of us can relate to that, especially daily. You travel and you're in that space. So that's one. The second one is outsourced services, global services. I think that the pandemic has proven that work from home can actually work for most businesses, and work from home means work from anywhere. So why not nearshore certain things to Jamaica and move up market? So this is, we have nurses and doctors, medical professionals that can read X-rays and CT scans and so forth. So I think there's huge opportunity to move up market. So we call it BPO, global services. Major opportunity there. So that's number two. Number three is infrastructure. There's no question that the country continues to invest in infrastructure. But if you want to see real economic growth, north of 5%, we have to do more infrastructure investment. And the diaspora can pool funds. We have capital here. It needs proper vehicles to be deployed in a transparent manner. But I would say infrastructure is three. Four is digital transformation. Right? We have the opportunity to once again leapfrog, and we went from fixed line to cellular phones, and now we have a big opportunity when you look at IT services and what needs to happen in our economy. And we need to be more efficient and keep growing that efficiency. As the Prime Minister says, we need to move at bolt speed. Well, the internet has proven to be critical for the operations of business during this pandemic. And if anybody was wondering, oh, do I need to upgrade? Well, guess what? You don't need to. I mean, we're doing this via Zoom right now. So I think that there's a huge opportunity, whether it's fintech or health tech or edutech education. We need to be investing in that space, digital transformation. And then, of course, lastly, is climate. We need to be talking about climate resilience. This is critical. This is not just about energy and energy management. This is around water. This is around farmland and use and food security. This is about affordable housing that can withstand the strong hurricanes that we're going to have, better management of flooding. So I think those are some really important areas that we should be looking at deploying capital into.
Okay. What's Blue Mahoe Capital Partners?
So we describe Blue Mahoe as a private investment firm focused on giving investors access to opportunities in the public and private markets in the Caribbean. Jamaica being a core part of that. I was on Bloomberg a few years ago, and we've been trying to create a vehicle that would allow retail investors, right, the general public here in the US and overseas, UK, Canada, elsewhere, to be able to deploy capital into the region and support exactly the kinds of projects that we are talking about. So we think that we're close to getting there. We've done some investments already from our own balance sheet in public markets in Jamaica. We've invested in some public companies on the junior market and the main market, and we invested in some private companies as well. And then we partnered with a small business lending firm in Jamaica to help provide capital from the diaspora at lower interest rates to small and medium-sized enterprises in Jamaica. And we're looking forward to scaling that because, as you know, we have capital here. We're sending back remittances, but those remittances are really for our family members and close friends. We want to invest down there, and there are very few avenues for us as a group to pool our funds and then invest back into places like Jamaica and provide that support and contribute to economic growth.
Good to see you.
Awesome.
Stay safe. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Jamaican-born businessman, founder and Chief Executive Officer of Blue Mahoe Capital Partners Incorporated, David Mullings. All right.